or the kingdom that were formed in northern Ghana started from the 16th century onwards. So like the Moli Dagbani state, you can talk about the Gonja state. Then the Waala state, when you even look at that one, it was built around the 17th century or early part or latter part of the 16th century. So the Dondoli Mosque was built at the same time the West Central Mosque was built. There was an early mosque that was built as a central mosque. That one collapsed. There was another one that was built, and that was the one that Babatu actually destroyed. Because this happened because Babatu and the Waala people went to war. Because there was a kind of rivalry between them, where Babatu realized that the Waala people were not supporting the cause. Babatu was not trying to, he was not a slave raider. Babatu wanted to establish an Islamic state with his counterpart called Samori. So they wanted to build what they call the Wasol state within West Africa. Just like recently we are hearing of the ISIS, they wanted to establish a caliphate, Islamic caliphate. Yeah. So these things is always a history that repeated itself from time to time. So, but I see that now, if you look at the terminology that is used to these guys in the Maghreb and other, they call them what? They are terrorists. Yes. So in those days, Babati and Co also called what? Slave raiders. Okay. So guys, right now I'm in Dondoli community. This is the mosque behind me, the Dondoli Ancient Mosque, and as you can see, the reconstruction is taking place, and we are going to be talking to the guy who led the campaign to restore the mosque, that is Sidik Kudus, popularly known as Amarkye, and then the people from the Ghana Museum Authority. They are all here, and then let's just head there and talk to them. Good morning. So everyone, this is Sidik Kudus Amarkye, and like I said, he started the campaign to restore this old mosque here. So we are going to be asking you some questions regarding this mosque. All right, so Kudus, you're welcome to Major Vibes.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity. All right. I'm really grateful.
Okay, we're also grateful that you received us here. Yeah. So the work has been going on for a while now, and I want to know, okay, this thing was lying here for a couple of years now.
Yeah.
What gave you the inspiration to start the reconstruction again?
For me, I will first of all thank the Almighty Allah for giving me this idea to support my community. As a youth growing up in Dondoli, I have the love for my community, and I have been through a lot through this community, and I feel like there's the need for me to also do something for the community, to show my love and support to the community.
Right.
So I look to it in the community too. I mean, what kind of important thing the community have, so that we can make good use of it.
Right.
So that one day it will be beneficial for the whole community.
Right.
So through my research and study about the community, I found out that we have some treasure, or a very important structure in the community which was abandoned. Yeah. So I decided that we have to work on it.
Right.
Yeah.
So how has the reception been? You know, starting a project like this involves a lot of money.
Yeah.
Obviously, you had to go to the community for them to contribute towards this.
Yeah.
So how has it been? Has the people been paying enough money? Like, are they even in support of you reconstructing this building?
Oh yeah, they are very happy about it.
Right.
Because I think a lot of people in the community was interested or was having that kind of intention, but how to start it was a problem. So when I have the intention of, restoring the ancient mosque, I think the whole community was happy and was ready to support this in the project.
So is this your first project in helping, like, giving back to your community? Have you done other stuff or stuff that you even intend to do again in the future?
Yeah, this is not my first project I've set up for the community. I think we have done a lot by supporting the community school at Abia and doing cleanup exercise every year to keep the community clean. I think this is our 7th project, if I may recall. Well.
And so how many years have is an organization, right?
Yeah.
So how many years has it been running?
It's 1.5 year for now. I created a platform on the 7th May. 2022. I think this is the second year that we are into, and it has helped the whole community a lot through development and bringing people together, fostering unity, and a lot about rebuilding the community, rebuilding the spirit of the people. Yeah, I think the organization has done a lot for the community, and it really needs, some applause for that.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm also interested in finding out the history about this building. I don't know if you are the right person to give us that information, or we should speak to the Ghana Museum Authority people that are here.
I think let's just ask this museum people. They might have some kind of, information about it.
Okay. Yeah, the future of this mosque is very, very bright. If we look at where the mosque is located and the people surrounding it, and then the encouragement that people have to work on this mosque, that shows that this mosque has a very bright future. At first, they worked on it in 1972. It was abandoned. In 2005, thereabout, they worked on it. It was also abandoned. But this time, we look at it's the community that came willingness to say that they want to work on it. They have a plan for the mosque. So sustainability is assured that they will not allow this mosque to go down again. Looking at the investment they have put on this mosque, I don't think the community will sit down and allow this mosque to collapse again. They will make sure that they will owe it. Their stewardship is now in their hands. Stewardship is now in their hands. So everybody is now a worker here, is a caretaker here, and is a security man here. So they are going to prevent this mosque from damage again. This is what I can say about the future of this mosque. My name is Samuel Guri, Ghana Museums and Monument Board. I'm the regional director in the Upper West region. Ghana Museums and Monument Board is mandated to manage the Dondoli Mosque, and we are the custodians of the cultural heritage, the intangible and tangible cultural heritage. I will not also forget the Dondoli community. I want to thank them very well for the initiative they have taken, and I will urge all the communities that these mosques or these heritage sites are found. They should make sure that they should come together as Dondoli did, and then work on it, and to going to increase the potential, the tourism potentials in their community. And when tourism potential is increased, it brings jobs, it brings development, and it brings a lot of employment in the area.
Like earlier on, I spoke to director, and then he said a few things to us. But when I requested for him to tell us the history, he pointed that I come to you. So we are here with you, and we are hoping that you share that word with us.
Thank you very much. Always, he's a regional director. I'm only somebody trying to help. I only came in simply because of the interest I have with this mosque, because my PhD thesis is on these mosques, and especially the topic of my thesis is Islam and its architecture in northern Ghana. And my focus was on the early mosque architecture, those that were built either in Sudanese style or Guinea style. And if you look at the Dondoli Mosque, it's one of those that were built with the Sudanese style. They call them Sudanese style because these are kind of architecture that were built within the Western Sudanese state at that time. And the term Sudanese style was actually coined by the French when they colonized the area and they saw that these type of mosques were there. They started using these kind of terminologies on them, at least. But when you look at them, these are buildings that were constructed with mud bricks, using wet, technology as a binding method. What I mean, with wet mud technology, in a sense that in some places they use dry bricks. They'll just put the bricks together without using any mortar. But our case, normally, you see that they always created joints where they use, the wet mortar to bind them together. That's why we're using bricks with the wet, mud technology. And if you look at the Dondoli Mosque, I'm interested in that because when I was doing my research in 2015, 2017, 2018, I just finished with the program. Dondoli was one of the areas when I came, the people allowed me to actually do my archaeological excavation, because as part of my work, I wanted to actually refine, because not that I want to establish the chronology, I want to refine the chronology of the mosque, in a sense that if you have ever been to Larabanga, you see that the people were telling that the mosque was built in 1421. So if you look at it, 1421, yes, there was Islam in northern Ghana. But at that time, it was difficult for one to say that at that time there were mosques. People were Muslims, but there was nowhere one can actually point out, at this period there was mosques. And secondly, if you look at that time, we were not having state. Most of the state or the kingdom that were formed in northern Ghana started from the 16th century onwards. So like the Moli-Dagbani state, you can talk about the Gonja state. Then the Waala state, when you even look at that one, it was it built around the 17th century or early part or latter part of the 16th century. So it means that if we want to talk about the mosque architecture, we should be talking from 17th century onwards. And these 17th century mosques, when we want to see them, we are likely to see them either within the Moli-Dagbani state, that is the Dogomba Mampresi area, and also within the Gonja kingdom. Any mosques we are likely to see within the Wa area, may be dated to the 18th, 19th, and early 20th century, as far as this kind of architecture is concerned. So, as I said, looking at Larabanga being the famous among all of them because of that kind of spirituality attached to it by the Gonja people. Dondoli was also very important because of its unique nature. Because even if not now, if anybody is looking for a spiritual home where the fellow can go and ask for spiritual support, spiritual healing, and all those things, in the whole of Ghana, and you want to talk, they will always talk about Wa. And the moment you come to Wa, the place that they will take you is Dondoli. So that is why when you look at the Waala state or the Waala kingdom, Many people actually classify it as well as an Islamic state, in a sense that the Waala state was not formed by the chief, that is the Nabihid alone. It was not also formed by the what? The Tendamba alone. It was a combination of forces where we have the Yenabihi, we have the Tendamba, and then we have the Nabihi. But later, you realize that when they established it and shared this role among them, at least, there was a mosque where the people were praying, and this is where the central mosque is.
Okay.
So, but the earlier mosque that was built in Wa, where many people can actually point as far as the historical record and some of the oral traditions concerned, was the first one was in Nasa. So, at least. Then later, the central mosque in Wa was built, what they call the Juma mosque. But at least many of these mosques, because they were built with mud, they were not permanent architecture. So from time to time, you see that at least part of the collapse, they have to actually do some renovation. Sometimes they will try to change the whole structure and things like that, So that was what was going on. So you can see that even the earlier mosques that we have, if you want to go and look at it in a very specific way using the architectural survey, it's likely that most of these mosques might have been built around the 18th, 19th century thereabout, in sort of the early days that people are actually pointing out. So with the case of Dondoli, when I did the archaeological excavation, I did one pit inside the mosque, and also did one outside, just to the southern part of the mosque. My aim was to actually understand within these two areas so that I can compare the materials that I'm getting from inside the mosque and those that are coming from outside. And it was clear to me that all the materials that I got from inside the mosque actually predated the mosque.
Okay.
Because I'm using the words of what? Superposition, where it is actually stated, this is a geographical term, where they say that the earlier materials are always found at the bottom. So it means that any material that are found below the mosque, they are older than the mosque.
Okay.
So, but at least I have to come outside and also see what are materials that I'm getting from outside. So it's likely the material I'm finding from may be different. And actually it helped me, because I could not get money to do what we call C14 dating, that is the requirement, but at least I was able to actually get what we call. As I said earlier, I was trying to compare the materials from inside and the materials from outside. And then if you look at the materials, as I said earlier, those inside actually predated the mosque, but those outside were more like they were contemporaneous with the mosque. It means that they were mostly closely, to the mosque architecture, in a sense that it gave me a mid-19th century AD based on the glass beads that I saw. And that particular glass bead, it was used in the mid-19th century for exchange of elephant tax. And if you look at Dondoli with his name as, a spiritual center of Wa, many people visit Wa with their various kind of requests for prayers and things like that. It's likely some of them might have visited one of the malams and then decided to give her these beads. And then if you look at within Wa, there was a period of time in the early 80s and then early 90s where there were some people who were going around, collecting these beads. And then with my interview with one of the elderly women who was still alive, she just passed on about 2 years ago. She told me that yes, that there was a period where there was these Kombongo men who were going around from house to house, asking for people to sell their old beads to them, And then it's likely these people who knew the importance of these beads were going from one community to another, buying them out from them. And many of them said, yes, they didn't know the importance of it, so they just gave them out. So it's likely some of these beads might have been part of it because they know the importance, especially the cultural significance of these beads, But at least the work actually helped me a lot. And now I'm trying to actually see how the Dondoli Mosque constructed. Because many people tell you, the Dondoli Mosque is the oldest mosque in Wa. No, Dondoli Mosque cannot be the oldest mosque in Wa, because if you look at Dondoli itself, it comes from two, it's just a terminology that is used, that is a bank, a river bank or a stream bank, which in Waala language is called Dondoli. That is a place where, there is no water in the area because the people were all living in Limanyiri proper. So, and as a result of population explosion, they decided to move, cross the stream, and then settle on the other side. And that was the name Dondoli, So that's how they started it. But one thing is that because they were part of the Imamate family, so when they moved there, they started to create that kind of spiritual, center within the area. And then Dondoli became more popular and more synonymous with rituals, issues a part of the Waala or the Waala state was concerned. So, but when you look at when the mosque was built, the Dondoli Mosque was built at the same time the West Central Mosque was built. There was an early mosque that was built as a central mosque. That one collapsed. There was another one that was built, and that was the one that Babatu actually destroyed. Because this happened because Babatu and the Waala people went to war. Because there was a kind of rivalry between them, where Babatu realized that the Waala people were not supporting the cause. Babatu was not trying to, he was not a slave raider. Babatu wanted to establish an Islamic state with his counterpart called Samori. So they wanted to build what they call the Wasul state within West Africa. Just like recently we are hearing of the ISIS, they wanted to establish a caliphate, Islamic caliphate. Yeah. So these things is always a history that repeated itself from time to time. So, but you see that now, if you look at the terminology that is used to these guys in the Maghreb and they call them what? They are terrorists. Yes. So in those days, Babatu and Co were also called what? Slave raiders.
Okay.
So the West have terminology that they can use. So and once they have that propaganda, they have the media, they have the people, they can use those terminology to actually drill some of the good things that people wanted to do. If not Babatu and Samori, they were no slave raiders. Though later when you see what they were doing, it was the so-called European who were using them for their own purposes. And then at least at the end of the day, things didn't go the way they wanted it because they realized that what they wanted them to do, they will not do it. And that actually led to a lot of confrontation among them, and they have to use the word slave raiders. So when Babatu went to the war against the Waala people, and which took place at Bayuri, the Waala people were defeated because the Waala would have won the war based on all their preparation, all their spirituality that was attached. But at least they lost the war simply because some of their, confident, commanders or, army confidants that they actually prepare all the rituals to go and do the fighting for them, eventually defected to the Babatu side. And then the Waala people lost the war. And that actually created a serious problem. So Babatu decided to establish himself at Limanyiri. And he lived there for 1 year. So at that time, he actually did what he wanted to do because it means that he was now the imam. He was also the chief of Wa at that time. So, and then the Muslims at that time who actually ran into the mosques, were central mosques at that time for refuge, Babatu decided to march towards there, burn everybody inside.
Including the mosque? Including the mosque.
He just burned everything inside there. And this actually caused a lot of... There was one of the imam, one of the imam called Osman Dung actually, died in a very, some ways that many people up to now do not understand the kind of sickness that is died. And there was one called the imam, the chief Adana called the Mamafu, according to what's right up from the information he got from the Waala people. He decided to commit suicide. Because if you are chief and your people are defeated, it means that you don't have to live. So he decided to commit suicide. The rest of the Muslims, including some of the guys who were from Dondoli, they have to run away to Waala. And when they were in Waala, then information got to Babatu that yes, some of them were still in Waala. And Babatu can actually match there because it was easy Babatu to connect with what Samori, whose headquarters was in Germany, in Ivory Coast. So they would have just matched there. So they decided to move away from Waala and then found themselves in Bona, Buntugu, and other areas. So it was around this place that most of these guys, especially Osman Don, Imam Sidik, and the rest, who actually were part of the people who ran away, found themselves in Kong. Then they stayed in Kong, and when Babatu eventually left the area and then moved, and then they decided to come back. So when they were coming, they came with a mosque builder. So which, some story will tell you that they will call Sidik Watara or Abdullah Watara. Some of them will call it Numbo and things, all kind of names that were given. But the fact is that the guy was from Kong. And when he followed them, they came to rebuild the West Central Mosque. And after they finished building the West Central Mosque, then the people of Dondoli, that is those same imams who actually brought these people, said they should build one of them for them in Dondoli. And that's how this small one was built. So if you look at what they will call it that the Cuba of what? The Kaaba of Dondoli. So Dondoli was considered as a Kaaba, because of the kind of spirituality that we're going around it. And then people used to come do a lot of sit there, do a lot of supplication and things like that. And if you ask people, some of the elder people will tell you that most of the important thing that were happening in Dondoli here, especially when you talk of Jembanti, that is Muharram, or if you talk of Sofra, there are some days that are very important, that is, and even Maulud, there are days that, the Dondoli people don't joke. And especially when it comes to Jembanti, where they have to come and do some purification, prepare some concoction for people to drink, because that is the beginning of the year. All these things were happening. Everybody, even people travel far and near to come and be part of this kind of celebration that used to go. So if you look at the Dondoli Mosque, so if the same mosque builder was the one that they used to build the mosque, it means that at least the Dondoli Mosque cannot be older than the Central Mosque. So it means they were built at the same time. So if they take 1 year for the one mosque to be built, it means that immediately they finished it, they built the Dondoli one. It was the same people. So the same builder from Kong who was used. So, and if you look at the writer from the historical record and then compare what was happening in Kong at that time and that, so it actually talk about around 1889, so which is just the latter part of the 18th century, 19th century. Right. So if you look at it, based on the material that I got from the archaeological excavation, it supported these days, which it was talking about the mid-19th century. So if you have mid-19th century and early, so it means that we can just say that these mosques were built around the 19th century. So it is around 1800, if you put it that way. 1800, that's where we talk of 19th century. If it is 1900, so it means that it was the 20th century. So this is how the period that most of these mosques were built. And then at least the mosque continued to be used only for the 5 daily prayers. That is one thing that many people don't know. This mosque were never used, the Dondoli Mosque was never used as a Friday prayer, because most of the people who were the imams of the Friday mosques were also from Dondoli. And it was difficult for you to be an imam and also create another, there's a Juma somewhere. And if you look at the issue of having different kind of mosques, for Juma prayer, it was around the mid part of the 20th century. Or I can even say mid part of the 21st century, where you started seeing most of these young men returning from their scholarship from Saudi Arabia and the places. And then, they started having most of these mosques that were built by the Zakat Fund. And then even when you see that when they wanted to open these Juma mosques, there was a lot of resistance. And then you can see even what happened in somewhere around 1987, 1988 thereabout. Among the Ahl Sunnah and then the Tijaniya, where they have to even also ban a mosque. They ban a mosque together with all the kutubs and everything that was there. So this goes back to the period when Babatu himself actually burnt the West Central Mosque. The people in Wa, the Orthodox Muslim, also repeated the same thing in the 20th century, where Imam Khadr Mosque, who was considered as an Ahl Sunnah mosque, was also burnt. So you see that at least the history tries to repeat itself in different forms. So at least these mosques have been a very important mosque for the people of Dondoli. And it would be difficult if Dondoli people wanted to actually protect and preserve their history. This mosque is very, very important because at the moment, the West Central Mosque was actually pulled down by the same people who brought this idea of the mosque. They also went to Saudi Arabia, and when they were returning, they came with another new mosque style. And then they had to pull it down in the 60s and then build this new central mosque that we are having. So it's not surprising that the same people also brought another kind of mosque and built in Dondoli again. So when you build it, the only difference is that this time, Dondoli people didn't pull down their old mosques. They rather built a mosque closer and abandoned the old mosque. So, and then we're expecting that the same thing should have been done at the West Central Mosque. They should have allowed the old mosque to be there and build a new mosque. But you see, that would have created serious problem. Where were they going to site it? It's not that they don't have what? Land. The land was there. But there is, in the Waala history, you have to understand that if you are a Liman Yiru or if you are from Liman Yiri, and it comes to the issue of Islam, you cannot take any decision without consulting Yana. Because the imamate came to Wa and have access to the Friday Imam through the Takayiri. Because the Yana was called what? The head of all the Muslims in Wa. And that was a title that was given to him. So that if you are a traditional believer and you entered Wa, you go to Nigeria. So if you are Muslims and you enter Wa, you have to go to what? Yana. So if you are at Tandana and you come, so you have to go to the Tandana place. So when the Lemaire were coming, and then when they entered, and then they went to that place and actually started speaking what? The Mandi language. And also mentioned that they were also coming from Mandikaba. So they were their brothers. So if not, initially there was a small mosque where the people were praying, and it was the Jangbejiri who were actually leading the prayers. Because these people don't want to be the imams, this and the Yana at the same time, so they allowed the Jangbejiri to be. But when these people came and said and speak the same language, they decided to give that imamship to them. So you see that they gave the Friday Imam to the Limayiri. Then they allowed the Jangbejiri people to still continue with the 5 daily prayers. And if you go there right now, you can still see that when it comes to 5 daily prayers, if the Jangbejiri is there, he has to lead it. And they also allow them to call the Asan. But the imamate itself, then the Friday Imam was given to them. It was later the imamate people also realized that they have to also do something where they also have to create another, imam, who they call Kalimanpang. The big imam. But when you look at it, sometimes some people call it Kaliman Dampala. So, and that Liman Dampala that they created was in a way to actually, release the Friday Imam. If not everything, it was the Friday Imam that was doing. So they also have to reduce the travel and the movement of Friday Imam, because it will not be good if you are Friday Imam. There is an activity somewhere when you go, you cannot come. So when they created that one, it means that, that person was just like traveling, and he cannot go to some of these places without consulting the Friday Imam. And you see that one, the way they did it, you can see that there are some gates within among the Limayiri, which any of them can become what? That Limampong. But when you come to the Friday Imam, there are also some particular gates within among the Limayiri where the thing rotate. It's not that it was something that they sat down and write. It was because these were brothers. So, and normally they also look at seniority. You can have all the knowledge, but once you have your senior brother, who is also a learner, maybe if you cannot learn, but you have to give it to him. And that's how they were dealing with Islam. It's only that recently, we have abandoned this kind of tradition about seniority when it comes to, imamship. And anybody can actually come out and say he wants to be imam. Those days, it was not like that. And now you can even see somebody who is a tagrayiru. If you get a chance, you want to lead prayers. In those days, you can even ask people. They were Fasirianko. These were scholars. But ask anybody, have they ever seen Wafasiri leading a Friday prayer? He won't do it. He will prefer to allow Elimayru to do it because he know that he is a what? Yanalo. But these were people who were going around preaching. And these were the people who actually become core members of Jamiat Islam. But you see that when they are even moving and they come to pray, they know the people that ask them to lead the prayers. Because they were actually looking at what? Islam do not actually say you should abandon your tradition. If your tradition do not actually destroy the religion, it's good, you can maintain it. And that's why they were doing everything. So at least if I see Dondoli Mosque as the last, intangible material culture evidence of Islam in Wa. So the day that Dondoli Mosque will also go down, if they are writing the history of war, it will only be what? Pictures that people have seen. But at least, if they see where is the evidence, at the moment, it's Dondoli that we have to go. Another place we can go is what? Nakore. Another place we can go to Wicham. But when it comes to what itself, is Dondoli. So it means that I'm happy that the people of Dondoli have seen the importance of resurrection and then reawakening and trying to make sure that they try to, restore this kind of what important, cultural heritage, and which is very key. And that is why I think that as somebody who is a student of culture and history, there's a need for me to also be part of this all-important thing. At least many people may not understand that why I'm so interested, because as part of what I do as somebody who is a museum, person or heritage, professional, I also try to actually, give back to the community, because I have written my PhD thesis. What is the benefit of the PhD thesis to the people of Dondoli? I only have to share the history. I also have to share the finding with them. And then this is what I have gotten based on my research. And this is the information I want to share with you. It's not that my information may be the best, but at least it's a way of sharing information. So if somebody also have something that can bring, but at the end of the day, we can have a very holistic history of Dondoli. And that will be perfect for all of us. Yeah.
Okay, so thank you so much, Mr. Malik. We really do appreciate your time, your knowledge, and thank you for sharing with us. Even though I'm from Dondoli, most of the things that you said, I had no idea about them. And these are stuff that I have to sit down and reflect on. So thank you so much. And we hope that this structure continues to stand forever.
So with these things that we're doing, as I said, I want this to finish because there are other things that we need to do. So the training of ecotourism guys who have to get the history. When people are come around, they can they can do the same thing that I'm doing. At least when we get people, it's just like when you go to Larabanga. Any boy within the area can start them. Even if the fellow is giving you the wrong story, but it's a story. So we need to get a lot of people, get to know much about this mosque. Because the fact is, why do they call it family? So it tells you that these people trace their origin to Mandi.
Okay.
Fa is what? A mosque. So, and then you add a Fa Muni, that is under the mosque. So you are putting two languages together. Mm-hmm. So then the people live there, they call it Fa Muni, and so under the mosque people. So the moment you go and sit with a Mandi person and say, oh, I'm from Fa Muni, the guy will ask, what do you mean by Fa? Fa. Because he knows Fa is a mosque. Then what is the meaning by family? So it means that you are mixing two languages together. And that actually tells you the origin of the people of Dondoli. So even if not now, you realize even when they are doing the Wazi, they use the Wangara language. the Mande language as part of the Wazi, terminology that they use. It's not that people have changed most of the things. And now that kind of movement is no more there. We don't have people going to Buna. We don't have people going to Bunduku. We don't have people going to Guinea. We don't have people going to Mali. But in those days, people go to this place to go and learn and come back. And you can be compared to anybody who have moved to Saudi Arabia and come. And you can see them. All those big imams that we have seen in Dondoli, ask them where did they go and learn? Most of them got their learning from Bono, Buntuku and those places. But when they meet with people and they are speaking, they will ask them questions, where did they learn? And we even have some of their students now. They don't know where Saudi Arabia is, but they can withstand with anybody who have gone to Saudi Arabia and got PhDs and all those things. Because this was a solid knowledge that they were giving people, pure knowledge, and knowledge that were giving people all their heart. And that is the knowledge we are now lacking. So I think this mosque is going to resurrect a lot. We are going to start seeing people coming around here. Because I always tell people, if somebody come to Nigeria, and then that is all. Why should we continue to have Nigeria and then we don't have the mosque? Because the one place is an imitation of the descent.
All right, I heard something like that.
Yeah. This just happened in 1925. The one mosque was built in 1925 during the era of Napelipo III. And before you can build it, Napelipo have to actually meet the Friday Imam. And I said, Mbana, Kabule Ayalana. Can you jam was secret hearing Aninga? The Pialango Mawana. Because the way was everywhere was this mud building. And then the mosque was unique. White with the black descent. Anybody, and it was big. I can say within, apart from those that I've not seen in engineers, I can say it was one of the biggest in Ghana. Because the female alone place is bigger than all these mosques. And you can see, if you see the image, you say that yes, this was big. But when he gave them the chance, and so that, why can't you help us to also have similar so that when people are coming, they can also come to our place too? And then a place that will be befitting to the statue of the Waala. He's from the Jesus. So if it's that the kind of be Kayiji him and the Kayiji him and the Adimomonoba, Anna family, Filippo family, Kayiji and they were living in some red houses. So Ananyam Bang a dialogue to look like what? The mosque. And that has actually given them a lot of respect. And people actually admire that kind of structure that they have used. So I do Kinankanya, Jeja, near Ja anti-relation to the Nigeria. So Kono come your Halka and Warla, but Mamma Kuturu Soka, yes, Donobonga, Easy Hidden Norland, Bossad Nor, and those sense. They try to also this kind of architecture, and we call it the Sudanese style. So if Nigeria is still surviving, and where the thing is imitated from, we don't have anything to show off, then it will be a problem.
Yes.
Yeah. So the Nokore one is a little story that we can talk about, when we have time, so that we can talk about Nokore.
Right.
Why we have one of the mosques in Nokore.
Right. No problem. Thank you so much.